Hello and welcome to another episode of Midnight Cowman. I decided to change the perspective this time because I thought this would look a little more interesting. And also, I'm finally dropping the last two movies I saw format. Simply because it's too hard to keep up with all of them because I watch so many movies. There might be one movie I might review, but then I can't do it because I've then seen two other movies last time. So yeah, I just gonna review the movies, what movies I recently saw, but they don't have to be the newest ones. Anyway, first up we have Misconduct. So Misconduct is about a young lawyer played by Josh the Humble who takes on a big company which has sold out fabricated pharmaceuticals. Man, I hope I said it correctly. Anyway, he wants to take on okay, I can't remember the character's names. Okay, doing this is hard. This big head of a corporation played by Anthony Hopkins, but he has no idea what kind of trouble he gets himself into. Look, I had been waiting for this movie for very long because Al Pacino is still making movies, and so I'm with anticipation wait for the next upcoming project of his. And Misconduct had, pretty much been in development for a very long time. And since some of his projects were cancelled, I was worried this one would never see the daylight. But I finally saw it. 7 months after it was released. I bought it on DVD because it never was released in theaters in Sweden. So I watched it at home on a Friday night, and I tried not to expect too much, but I would have an enjoyable time. And well, to some extent I did, but to some extent I also didn't. The plot is, pretty intriguing. Sorry, the table. It may sound a little familiar, but I thought they could generate some suspense out of it, and at first they do. The movie moves forward slowly, but it's slow in a good way, that it's building up tension. This lawyer takes in a case, and he slowly gets into the process. But it starts to get a little complicated when he cheats on his wife. He also takes help from Walter Abrams, played by Al Pacino, my man. This infidelity thing, that him cheating on his wife, played by Alice Eve, and getting into further complications, it could have been decent, even though it's something we have seen many times. But the problem is that Malin Åkerman, who plays this woman he cheats with, is a terrible actor. I didn't care about her in Watchmen, and I certainly didn't care about her here. Oh my god, she was just terrible. It's funny. Anthony Hopkins tells Malin Åkerman's character that she's a child and needs to grow up, and that is funny because Åkerman pretty much spoke like a child with her line delivery. What do you know, huh? But yeah. You know, I'm not one to usually complain about the Swedish accents shining through, because I know it's hard to conceal it. But it was just so evident here that it was annoying. She didn't even, try to put on a believable English voice. Another thing is, the plot becomes kind of hard to follow. I mean, sure, it was pretty hard to follow in Al Pacino's City Hall too, but there were some, threads that kept you going, okay, I kind of see where you're going with this. But in this movie, it got downright confusing at times. For example, there's a hitman who's after several people. But the thing is, we hear about how he's very sick and he's gonna die the next day, but we don't even manage to tie that into the plot anyway. It's just a failed attempt to trying to develop his character, but he still winds up being a one-dimensional hitman. He goes from a one-dimensional hitman who's out for killing people to a one-dimensional hitman who's out for killing people, but happens to be a little sick. The actor who played was actually very good, but I just thought that the character was very flat, and I frankly enough didn't really understand his motivations in the movie. And also there's a problem. There is some very bad writing in this movie. I'm not saying it's a complete train wreck, but the dialogue is sometimes so dumb. Like, what are these characters saying? Is this a kind of a school play or something? Especially when it comes to Josh Duhamel's friend, who is completely on him all the time. Like, you gotta take care of you, you're gonna get into some twisted shit. He doesn't come off as a believable friend. It's just a cardboard character explaining plot points of the movie, and does it in the stupidest way possible. Like, for example, there's writing with Malin Åkerman, his friends going like, you never know what this woman can do. She's gonna get into some serious trouble. She could be a psycho. I was like, okay, you're really over-explaining it right now. You know that, right? Christ. I mean, his friend didn't even know iota about this woman, so I don't know. Whatever. And another thing is, it just in general becomes more and more convoluted as the movie goes on. And worst of all, there's a very predictable twist, which has been used in several of Al Pacino's movies, so we already saw it coming. I'm not gonna tell you what it is, but it just made me very annoyed that they didn't go different route, because all I could think of was, of course. But even worse, after that, there's an even stupider twist, and it was so mind-numbingly dumb and annoying that it almost ruined the entire fucking movie. That twist alone almost tempted me to give it a low rating. No wait, actually I did, but it made me almost want to give a movie a 5 or 4. That's how serious it was. Seriously. Shitty ending. Oh yeah, I forgot. There were 3 other actors. Or 4 actually. I'm commenting about Malin Åkerman, who was atrocious in this movie. Josh Duhamel, he's, you know, it's not bad like Ackerman and whoever plays his friend, but it's just wooden. It's like, you know, he just comes off as really bored of this movie. Like, okay, here's a line, I'm gonna say it. Hello, how are you doing? Okay, here's another line, I'm gonna be terrified. Oh my god, what are you doing to my family? Let's see. Yeah, I'm gonna take him down. But that's the most annoying thing, by the way. But he's always constantly taking these long, very awkward pauses, like shall we proceed? Like, oh God, don't you even know how to think? So frustrating. And Anthony Hopkins, look, I love this guy. He's a terrific actor, but I don't know. There was something off about him in this movie, like, you know, in some places he was really good, but in other places it almost sounded like he didn't really want to be there, like, yeah, whatever, Misconduct, huh? Sure. It's, you know, how he delivered his lines was surprisingly weak for, you know, being Hopkins. And I even liked him in Hitchcock, even though people criticized his performance there. But this, I sadly have to say that this has been the weakest I've seen him. Al Pacino, he was really good actually. He's always managed to save the weakest scripts. You know, Two for Money, 88 Minutes. Those were not very good movies, but it would have been even worse if it wasn't for him, because he managed to actually bring something with his performances. He pretty much always does his best, even when the material is pretty sucky. It's out of nowhere. But yeah, I thought he was very entertaining in this movie. Alice Eve, who plays his wife, and you know, she's fine. She's incredibly terrible in one moment though, but you have to see it for yourself. So overall, this is a movie which starts really good. It actually, you know, keeps me interested, even with the flaws it has, like some bad dialogue, some bad acting. But it takes a pretty long time before I, you know, finally give up. It's with the last two twists that I finally throw the towel, like, okay, you lost the movie, I'm done. But before that, I'm actually thinking, hey, this ain't too half bad. Especially with the first 40 minutes or so. The cinematography and directing is actually great, might I say. Well, okay, the director isn't the best sometimes, but in some scenes actually look really beautiful, like they really put their minds into the movie's look. Feels like a little bit of a neo-noir thriller from the 90s. Okay, if I'm stealing someone else's comparison, I'm sorry, but that's kind of how it felt like. The music, yeah, I actually really dig the music soundtrack as well. I thought it was, you know, pretty impressive for this movie. So you see, I didn't hate this movie. I didn't even think it was mediocre. It just, you know, didn't really achieve the level of excitement that I wanted. But I'm gonna go ahead and give you a fairly generous rating of 6.8 out of 10. It was a fine time at Friday night. The second movie I saw was The Son of Kong. So The Son of Kong is about this captain played by Robert Armstrong, who survived all the mayhem from you know, the first King Kong movie. There are some other characters who return as well, such as Hellstrom, the Chinese cook, one of the inhabitants of a tribe, I think. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's a lot of the crew actually came back for the first movie. Some of the actors, one of the screenwriters, Ruth Rose, the director, some of the people who made the special effects, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same guy doing the cinematography as well, since it has a similar look to the first movie. So anyway, I love the first King Kong movie. I mean, it's just one of those classics that you have to see sometime in your life. It still looks incredible even to this day. The special effects are fantastic, and the ape itself is of course very iconic, and it's even a pretty good love story. An unusual one, but still a kind of nice one. The ape even looked scary at some points, which surprised me. So with this movie, I had some reservated expectations, because you know, I don't expect it to blow my mind, and I also don't want to be disappointed. This is a fairly good movie. You know, it's great that it's a direct follow-up to King Kong, and they put some heart into the sequel. Robert Armstrong, of course, does a very good job again, and you know, his character is just very fun to watch in this movie. He has some pretty great one-liners. Instead of Fay Ray, we have Helen Mack, and she's actually great. She probably was my favorite actor in this movie. She really brought some insight into her character, and was a very charming screen presence. Hellstrom, I can't remember who played him, sorry, but yeah, he was fun as the movie's villain, even though he was pretty cartoony at times, but you know, still, he was entertaining to watch. Also, we have a different ape in this movie. He's, you know, King Kong's son after all, so we're not gonna get the exact same thing. And it's interesting also how they made him a different character, and not just the same ape from the first movie. Because the first ape was, you know, more like a regular ape. He had a heart, but he didn't quite understand the world and what he was doing. This ape, on the other hand, is more aware of his actions, and is even warmer and kinder to people. While the first ape didn't really care much if he killed some douchebag such and such, this ape didn't want to kill anyone at all. He just was really friendly and very helpful. I'm not saying the ape in the first movie should have been that, because then it wouldn't have been the movie it was, and I'm glad they didn't just make him the complete friendly dude, because the first Frankenstein wouldn't have worked otherwise as well if they just made him completely 100% friendly. But I do appreciate that they put a different twist of his character, made him different than the first ape. Not only that, but instead of creepwalking his damn table again, he has looked cute. Yeah, never thought I would say that, would you? King Kong's son looks cute. The directing is top notch. I mean, what do you expect from the guy who made the first King Kong movie? He seems to be just as happy behind the camera this time to direct more apes and humans, of course. And it just looks beautiful. It's almost hard to believe this was made on such a much lower budget, because I thought it still looked like a quality high production movie. The effects are, while not as good, they were still really good. The special effects team seemed to have a great time doing this movie. Oh, of course, just like in the first movie, the music is amazing. Every scene, every single scene is perfectly composed and truly brings the movie's needful atmosphere. It just makes you almost feel like you're there in the wonderful world of King Kong and his kin. I don't have many problems, only that it took a little while to get going. At first I didn't quite buy into the movie. The dialogue was pretty weak and the characters didn't have much to do. But as it went on, it just got better and better. However, I know this movie from 1933, just like the first King Kong. But the first King Kong movie wasn't nearly as sexist as this one. I mean, Robert Armstrong and Helen Mack's characters got along later on, but at first Robert Armstrong just treated her like this dumb piece of blonde, which annoyed me. Okay, she wasn't a blonde, but you know what I mean. And some of his lines were also very demeaning, and they almost felt out of place for his character. Like, why would he suddenly tell her he would beat her up just because she wanted to come on a trip? I mean, she didn't have anywhere else to go. Could you show at least a little sympathy? Or is she just a dumb old woman who doesn't know what to mind her own business? So yeah, the sexism was a little jarring at times. Not too much, but sometimes it just made go, oh come on. But the Son of Kong is way better than people would tell you it is. There were some incredibly awful sequels out there, and this is not even close to being one of them. So I'm giving the Son of Kong 7.5 out of 10. There are some flaws, so it doesn't quite get an 8, but I still think this is highly worth checking out. Thank you for watching this episode of Midnight Cowteen. Tune in to the next one.